Morning, first still Ellaby from Northern Accountants. This is the first of two briefings this morning that I wanted to put out. This one is around the furloughing of the team. On Tuesday, I spent some time with Daniel Barnett, who is a London Barrister, and he gave us some insights into the technical detail behind furloughing, seeing as there's not a great deal of knowledge around there. Just to recap, furloughing is one of the current options available to employers with regarding to their team's position. At the minute, there's kind of three options really. One, they can reduce the team's hours. Two, they can make staff redundant. Or three, they can furlough them. And obviously in this time, a lot of preference is the furloughing, and that is one, to retain good team members, and two, also to avoid the statutory redundancy pay, which is a cash flow drain that everybody could do without. So some technical details regarding the furloughing. First and foremost, it cannot be backdated. So if you furlough somebody today, you can't say it's back from the 1st of March. They can have done no work with you in the time period of furlough. So that's that one. However, you can have furloughed people in the past, and that can be any day from the 1st of March. So if you did furlough somebody on someone like the 10th of March, that's absolutely fine. The notification of that doesn't go through to the March payroll anyway. So what else have we got? One of his major concerns, and I share it if I'm honest, is the mechanism for getting the money back from the government is not due to be ready for till April. HMRC have never delivered anything on time in history, so it is very, very likely that that's going to run to May. So the expectation is that everybody will have the payrolls for March, because it's normal February trading, and we hadn't been put down on lockdown then, so it's the March trading that's impacted, and subsequently in 90% of the cases by the retail industry, I would suspect, and the leisure industry, it will be that it's the March-April income that will suffer. So what he has said is that if you furloughed people and they're running on the April payroll and there is no money to pay the wages, then the employees will have to wait for the money. The government has there is no legislation and no desire to push businesses into an untenable position where they can't afford to pay furlough monies when the government hasn't been able to reimburse them. So I think that's quite an important point, and I think if you are in that position, that is something I would potentially brief your staff on. I wouldn't be telling them on the 30th of April that there's no money to pay them. I would be telling them well in advance that you are waiting for it, and the furlough payments are reliant on you having received the previous month's furlough money. I think that is quite an important point if you are in that position. What else have we got? The cap on the person is for £2,500, and that includes national insurance and pension contributions, although some of the details are to be confirmed on this. One thing to note is that the pension contributions calculated in your payroll still must be paid. There is no exemption from that. One thing that's quite unclear at the moment is whether you can furlough a member of the team, bring them back on if some work comes in, and then re-furlough them. So it's not clear if that is possible to do that or not. So we're seeking clarification on that. If someone isn't working for another reason, so something like childcare, if they've come in and said they can't work for childcare purposes, or they can't work for sick pay, they can't be furloughed. So they can't just go on furlough. Nobody is entitled, as I mentioned this before, no one is entitled to furlough as a result of being away from work. If they choose to be away from work, then they cannot be furloughed. They will be on unpaid leave. What else? This furlough generally won't be available to standard sole directors and partnerships. But if any of directors cannot work, and not even on admin, then they can be furloughed. So multi-director partnerships and companies can be furloughed if they're doing no work. In order of the selection of furloughing the team, it has to be a fair process. You can't just pick and choose your mates and send them home on 80% and make everybody work else for 100%. So that's one thing. There's no obligation for you to pay the additional 20%. While on furlough, employees will accrue holidays, And the other thing that we've got is, and again, if they can come back and you make them redundant, they're still entitled to the normal statutory redundancy, as all their employment rights are continued throughout the period. Any employment tribunals, if a employee feels they've been unfairly treated, which would be highly surprising and most disappointing if they did, won't be held for at least 6 to 12 months. That's all we have at the moment. We outlined the process where that you would need to provide a contract variation to the employee if they don't have a layoff clause within their contract, which many clients don't have. So check that with your HR, and then you need to write to them. You'll need to keep those records on file. So that is the contract with the leave clause in it, or the variation of the contract with the permitting the leave clause, and the notice to the client, to the employee, to tell them that you've done it. I suspect that will be called upon when uploading the data to HMRC's soon-to-be-built, possibly soon-to-be-built new portal. Mine's went to skip again. So that's about it on Furloughing for now. If you've got any questions, if you need any support, don't hesitate to ping us an email. Okay, thank you. Stay safe and have a good day.